Hey everyone, John Frechette here, CEO of Mora, that's MOARA.io, stands for Mother of All Research Assistants. Here to talk about a hard truth that I spell out in this coming LinkedIn post. The hard truth is that Claude, which is the general AI chatbot, obviously it's kind of having a moment right now and there's good reason for it. Claude is now better at finding academic papers and returning search results than most AI literature search engines. There's a whole industry of literature search engines that have cropped up in recent years, stemming from the belief that the big models would really never be able to retrieve academic papers well and without hallucinating and without pulling in things like newspaper articles into their sources. All of that has changed much more quickly than anyone anticipated. And yes, we can back it up with data. That's the purpose of this session, obviously. So about 1 month ago, I conducted a Friday lab session. That's our weekly Friday at noon Eastern time seminar, webinar series. And in that, I spun up a very simple methodology for testing AI literature search engines. I picked these 5 that are on the screen. And for what it's worth, the main takeaway was that Undermind is the clear number 1 in terms of returning really great search results. And just about everything else was tied. Certainly Consensus and Elicit and Scholar Labs were close, and SciSpace was in 5th place. Now, the backstory here also is that our team at Mora has for a long time been kind of tracking and exploring the big models as a way to search for papers. The reason why that's so attractive to us is there's a few different reasons, but one of them is certainly that we hear from researchers all the time how badly they'd like to be able to iterate on their searches to a greater extent. So, you get 10 paper results and you say something like, well, these are too focused on theory-based papers. I need more empirical work. I need more reviews or systematic reviews in my corpus. That's a really hard thing to do. My sense is that none of the major literature search engines have really cracked the case on making that iteration work. The big models, of course, we all know how ChatGPT works, how Claude works. It's really not that hard to do that. So let me throw in a quick plug so you know the context and you know there's really no kind of conflict of interest here. Our product is Mother of All Research Assistants. I describe it as an AI-powered reference manager and literature review workflow platform. So that means it's built for, team reviews, systematic reviews, and of course, reference management means storing and maybe extracting data from papers, doing some citing work, as well as doing some maybe preliminary screening, evidence synthesis, etc. The point is, we don't host or manage a search engine ourselves. We've integrated a few, but we are not in the search game, let's say. Okay, so if we go back to the Friday Lab session and the premise of this video right here, here is the very basic methodology that we've selected. I'm just giving you a peek under the hood. Basic methodology we've selected to test out search results. Of course, there are other ways to do this. There are more methodical ways. One thing we've found is the more complicated you make the methodology for testing search engines, the easier it is to gamify. We've seen some, white papers coming out of teams that built tools like this one that pick up a lot of steam that, in fact, are overly complicated in terms of their methodology. So we picked a really simple one, and that was use the same query, which is what are the GDP impacts of climate change. I tend to pick economics examples across all of these search engines. Plug it in, take the top 10 results, scrub them, lay them out in the same exact fashion. Title, author, journal, year, citation count, abstract. This involves a lot of cleaning, sometimes cleaning journals that didn't show up initially, cleaning citation counts that didn't show up initially, etc. And then run this all in anonymous fashion through some of those models. Once again, totally anonymously. And then do a bit of a human review as well. That's what you see if I go back here. We have a Claude, Gemini, and OpenAI test. That's what I ran with this one. And then us humans also. So these are the different search engines. I can send you this document if you're interested, but there are 6 of them. And most importantly, just want to show you the results here. I started with ChatGPT, ran these through. I want to show you the legend again. Elicit, Undermind, SciSpace. Importantly, Claude is number 6, Undermind's number 2. Those are the 2 to keep in mind. Ran those through. You can see the exact prompt. Rank these search engines based on quality, relevance of their search results. Here's the input, and here is ChatGPT's response. Search engine number 6 is the best overall. Search engine number 2 is the second best. Those are our exact findings. When we go through our human review, we have Claude being the best, Undermind being the second best. Undermind is great technology. Search engine number 5 is Scholar Labs. My guess is SciSpace shows up last. And so the point is, Again, you don't have any kind of bias here. No, it's totally anonymous. ChatGPT ranks Claude as the #1 search engine. Go to Claude itself. Take these with a grain of salt, but it's a new chat, totally anonymous. There's no reason at all there should be a significant prejudice. Having said that, same exact cadence for the most part. My guess is in all of these, you'll have number 6, Claude results as the first, number 2, Undermind results as the second, and then most often you're going to have SciSpace, which is number 3 as the last. And so just the consistency of the ranking and how it aligns with our human review tells you something about kind of, everything take with a grain of salt, but these are pretty reliable results. Finally, Google Gemini. In this case, I uploaded a Word doc. I scrubbed the initial legend from that, so it was totally anonymous again, and then gave it the task. Same exact thing. We've got Claude as number 1. We've got Undermind as number 2. And lastly, you've got SciSpace. So really fascinating. I mean, what's interesting to us is there are limitations here, of course. One of them is that we're only taking the top 10 results. If you need 100 results, Claude is not going to be your tool unless you come up with a useful way to sort of split up results so there are no hallucinations. What I'm getting at is the challenge you had in the past with some of the big models like Claude was that the big models like Claude, if you search for anything more than, say, 5 paper results, if you search for 5 paper results, you get great results. But if you searched for 10 or 20 or 30, you had all sorts of hallucinations. That problem, to a greater extent, has been addressed. And so now you can query Claude for 30, sometimes 50 papers. Now, do you want to go to Claude for 1,000 papers? Absolutely not. There'll be an endless amount of hallucinations. There is a breaking point. However, I'll mention a lot of these existing literature search engines, I won't name any specifically beyond what I already have, but a lot of those use the top 10 results in their summaries and to conduct a lot of their workflows. So users are fairly dependent on their top 10 results to do things like get a quick scan of the literature on a topic. So, but there, like I said, there are major limitations, and so everyone should sort of explore on their own. But nonetheless, I feel this is a very notable development, a surprising development, and one that, if harnessed well, can be really great for researchers to be able to iterate on their searches to a greater extent. And spoiler alert, what we're really trying to accomplish in Mora is, regardless of what search engine or database you're bringing papers in from, they all are seamlessly brought into your library. All of the metadata associated with those papers are automatically populated. For instance, if you were to actually import literally just this information into Mora, we would go out and be able to find DOIs and be able to find screening methods, be able to find ISSNs from Crossref, etc. So it's a big metadata database. And then you'd be able to go through screening with your team. You'd be able to go through full text reviews, etc. And so that's all I wanted to cover. Really hope it was informative. Hit me up in the comments with any questions. And we're just getting started really on our YouTube page. Please subscribe if you found this useful. Thank you.